Hi, I'm Emily. Welcome to episode 24 of Holding the Sticks, a hockey themed fiber arts podcast. Hi, everyone, and welcome to my craft room here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. My name is Emily, and you can find me on Plurk, on Twitter and Instagram as Emily3022, and on Ravelry as Shanti Dragon. I have a Ravelry group for the podcast, Holding the Sticks, and you can do that by searching the groups in Ravelry. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching today. Today is Monday, July 22nd, 2013. And just a little bit of administrative stuff to start out. I have not heard anything from Blip as far as being kicked off. So for now, the podcast will continue to be hosted there. And I've also always uploaded to YouTube as well. Most or all of the links on my blog and on Ravelry will now be to the YouTube video so that I don't have to switch all the new ones over once Blip kicks me off, which I understand is just a matter of time, but I have heard nothing so far. I have looked into some other options for hosting the podcast. One of them is called Hipcast. If I decide to go that route, it will be a paid for service. So I will have to pay to have the podcast hosted there. I'll also have to really keep close tabs on the length of my shows because of limited storage space. And I think the option I was looking at does not have limited bandwidth, but I'll look into that more. Like I said on the last episode, worst case scenario is that I will continue to record and post a podcast to YouTube. So we'll just go from there and I'll keep you all updated. Let's get into the pregame reports. As I said last podcast, this is where I do my little bit of weekly chatter. It's been 2 weeks since my last podcast, so I've got 2 weeks worth of chatter, but it still won't be too much. Mom's surgery went really well. I spent last weekend in Raleigh with her. She had a double mastectomy, not a radical. It was a simple double mastectomy, and they found no signs of tumors, and her lymph nodes were clear. So that is such good news, and Mom is recovering very well. I need to give her a call soon. I haven't talked to her in a few days, but she was able to take care of all of the post-surgical stuff on her own when I was there. I was just there to keep an eye on things and make sure she had everything she needed. So um, she is doing great. She's doing better than I've seen her do in months. So this is good news, and I'm so happy. And hopefully she's watching. Hi, Mom. um, Other than that, the last couple of weeks have been pretty good. My husband's birthday, Fox, that's his name. Fox's birthday was last Monday, the 8th, so 2 Mondays ago actually, and we had gone out to have dinner with some friends in Hickory a few weeks ago to celebrate that officially, but then he and I, on his actual birthday, drove up to Beech Mountain. It's about a 45-minute drive from our house, and there is a really cool little Chicago food restaurant up there. They have Chicago-style hot dogs and bratwurst and all kinds of really good stuff. Italian beef sandwiches, all this yummy, yummy stuff. And so we went up there for his birthday because it's one of his favorite things. And when we got there, we were the only ones there. So they handed us the remote control for the TV and they had the NHL network. So we sat there and we watched, I think it was a 1954 hockey game. I think it was the Red Wings versus the Montreal Canadiens. It was really funny to watch. It was all in black and white, of course. And the players, none of the players were wearing helmets, and the goalies, none of the goalies even had the old-fashioned masks. They were just all barefaced and bareheaded. It was incredible. We were like, I can't believe that. That's crazy. So we had a good time doing that. And For his birthday also, what I gave him for his birthday is I paid off the balance owed on a new costume, and here's a picture of it. The costume's name is Hutch, and Fox has had him in his possession for a while, but we were slowly paying it off to its previous owner. So I paid off the balance, and Hutch now belongs to Fox. So we're really excited about that. Hutch has already done a couple of appearances for the Humane Society, so that's really fun. Other than that, I've got some really exciting news actually. I have my show notes right over here today, just so I can have it closer and not be looking like down all the time. You like to see the top of my head. Anyway, my exciting news is Fox and I are celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary on October the 16th this year. We have been round and around trying to figure out something special to do for our anniversary. We talked about maybe going to Disney, which is a little bit out of our budget right now. Maybe going to Charleston, which would be fun, but we've done it before. If you've never been to Charleston, South Carolina, it's a lot of fun to go there, especially if you like historical stuff. But anyway, we've been round and around, and yesterday we really sat down and talked about it because, it's just a couple of months away now, so we need to be asking for time off. And we decided that we want to try and do Rhinebeck. So I'm so excited, you guys. I've never been to Rhinebeck. The only fiber festival I've ever been to is the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair, which is held in Asheville, also known as SAF. And it's a great little festival, but I understand Rhinebeck is just incredible and amazing. So we went ahead yesterday and reserved a camping cabin at the closest KOA to Rhinebeck. And we haven't been camping in forever, and I'm so excited. And it's in a cabin. The cabin has electricity, and I understand it has cable. We won't be using that, and Wi-Fi. It doesn't have air conditioning, and it doesn't have its own bathroom, so we'll still have to be trekking down the path, to go use the bathrooms and the showers and stuff, just like summer camp when you're a kid. But I'm super, super excited. I know the temperatures can really vary that time of year up there, so we'll bring a space heater and stuff in case it gets cold, and we're used to not having air conditioning, so that's not a big deal. The cabin apparently comes with a fan and has a little porch swing and like a fire pit or a barbecue of some kind, a grill. So I am so excited. We're just going to spend 2 nights at the KOA, and then we may spend a few days with Fox's family, with our family up in Connecticut, and with friends in the Boston area maybe. So I'm so excited, and I'm hoping I'll get to see y'all there. Things could still fall through, and it might not happen, but I just wanted to share it. So, other little thing I wanted to talk about in the pregame report is that I have been active on Instagram lately. Instagram is a photo app for the iPhone. I believe it's also on Android. In fact, I'm almost positive. It's probably on Windows Phone as well. But it is just like a Twitter type app, but it's all photos. So you friend people on there, and then you get to see their photos come up in your stream as they take photos, and then your photos will show up in their stream, and it's really cool. I was having trouble with the Days app just because I'm forgetful and kind of impulsive, and I would forget to take photos within the app. So if you don't take photos within that Days app, you can't use them in the app. You have to actually take them within there. So I decided I've pretty much made the switch over to Instagram, although I'm still watching a couple of people on the Days app because I enjoy seeing their pictures every morning. So, all right, that's it for my chitter chat. Let's get into the first period. Let's get into the first period. We are in the zone with a little fiber arts action. And on my needles this week in developing play, I've got some old stuff and some new stuff. So let's get right into it. I am still working on the Knit Sampler Afghan by Coats & Clark. It's a free pattern. The link is available on Ravelry, and I believe it links straight to the Red Heart site. When it's finished, it will look like this. except my colors are very different from that. I am currently working on square number 1 because I'm making this a double-sized afghan, and I finished the first 12 squares, and I'll show you those in a minute. But I'm currently working on square number 1 to start the second half of the blanket. It's just a basket weave, and that's the back. It doesn't really matter, it's a basket weave. But here it is. This is using Red Heart soft yarn. The pattern calls for Super Saver, but you know, pretty much any worsted or Aran weight will do. And this is a teal colorway, this yarn right here, and I'll tell you the other colors that I'm using when I show you the other squares that have been finished. Using a size 8 US 5mm needle for that, and it is just an ongoing project. My goal or my plan at the beginning of the year was to do 2 squares per month. Of course, I got behind a few squares a month, and then I think I've almost got caught up now. If I can get that square and the next square done before the end of July, I will be technically caught up. So there we go. The other, or another project I have on my needles in developing play is the vanilla socks made from my hand spun. Let me show you those. I finished one sock. This is the second sock. So you see I've done the foot and the heel and the leg. I'm almost to the cuff. And this is being knit with my hand spun. It is the Into the World Superwash Merino in the Lavinia colorway that was done for the Knittables spin along. So I spun it up and decided to go ahead and cast on for these socks. I'm trying to make them tall enough that I can go ice skating in them. I haven't tried my skates on with the sock that's finished yet. Let me show you the finished sock too. Here we go. It's all wonky. Sorry you guys, I should have put it on a blocker. But there's the first sock all finished and pretty. I love the way these turned out. How it turned out stripy. The hand spun yarn it was spun one long single, and then I Navajo plied it to keep the colors together and get this stripy effect. So there is that. I'm knitting that on US size 1 or 2.5mm needles. And in order to, because it's just superwash merino without any nylon or anything, I'm using nylon sewing thread held double in the toe, or it's held double with the yarn for the toe and the heels, just to give it a little extra strength and make that last a little bit longer, hopefully. We'll see how it wears after I start wearing them. The third and final project I have in developing play is a new project. So I am making a pair of mittens, and they're called Freja, and they're by Emmy Peterson, I believe. Yes, Freja, I'm assuming I'm saying that right, by Emmy Peterson. I'm using Knit Picks palette, but here's what the mittens will look like. There you go. And I love hearts, so these are just right up my alley. Like I said, I'm using Knit Picks palette yarn, and I can't remember the colorways. I ordered this a long time ago, started some end paper mitts with it, and wound up frogging that project. So here's how it looks. And that's a dark wine red kind of a color. It's a heathered, one of the heathered ones, and I believe the white is just the natural or bare color. So that is the back of the mitten. This is the left hand mitten. And I actually like the front of the mitten even better. You see there's one dark red heart so far. There's a few of those scattered in. And you see where I'm starting the thumb gusset right here. I'm loving this. I don't do a lot of color work. I'm not very good at it. So I'm trying to be really careful with this. I'm afraid that I had to go down just half a needle size because the needle it called for was in use with something else, and I'm afraid it might come out too tight. So right now it fits, but we'll see when it gets up to the fingers if it's going to be too restrictive or not. So, but I'm really enjoying that so far. And hopefully you'll see more of that next week. That's the kind of project I typically knit while I'm watching podcasts or TV. I'm not usually somebody that sits down and just knits. So that project is more one that I have to just sit down and concentrate on. I can listen to audio podcasts while I do it, or even better, I've been listening to music while I've been working on those mittens. So that's fun. I have no finished objects this week. I'm sorry. And actually, I should have. I'll just count these as finished objects because I should have talked about this when I talked about the blanket. I usually don't count finished squares for the blanket as finished objects, but since I didn't show them to you before, I should show you these. Um, this is also for the Knit Sampler Afghan by Coats and Clock. These are the last 3 squares for the first half of the blanket. Here is one of them. This is in the berry colorway. Put it over here so maybe you can see the lace a little bit. And I finished, this one's interesting. I think the pattern is called Tumbleweeds. The colorway for this is grape and teal. Get a little closer, you can see the interesting pattern there. It's all slip stitches. And then this one is called Windswept, and it's in the grape colorway. All of that is Red Heart Soft, of course. So there is that. I did score with some Spinorama this week. I finished the Calypso colorway from Greenwood Fiberworks. This was 4 ounces of Polworth that I was working on last time. Here's a picture of the fiber before it was spun. And here is the finished object. So that's showing close to true, except there's a lot more purple in it than it's showing on here. I love the way it turned out. I did a 2-ply, just a normal 2-ply with 2 different bobbins. And I have not counted my yardage yet, but I'm assuming I've got maybe 200-ish, maybe 220 yards here. And it looks to be about a worsted weight. And here is a picture of the finished yarn so you can see what the colors look like a little bit better. Super happy with this. Of course, anytime I do a normal 2-ply, I always wind up with a little bit of extra yarn. And I just Navajo plied that little bit of extra and it came out pretty cool. But I actually like the 2-ply a little bit better this time. I remember last time I did a little bit of Navajo at the end and I wished I had done the whole thing Navajo ply. But this time it's the opposite, so it's pretty and it's soft and it's squishy. It'll be a little bit itchy for some folks right against the skin, but I'm typically not too sensitive about that stuff, so it should be fine for me. Not sure what I'm going to make with it yet. It seems to be screaming hat at me, so we'll see. We'll see. That is it for Spinorama. I have a little bit of the equipment room to show you. I have some new pretty yarns to show you. Well, one is super pretty. In the equipment room today, I received my prize for the playoff pool I was a member of. During the Stanley Cup playoffs, there is a group on Ravelry called Puck This, and they have a playoff pool that's really fun. Everybody who wants to participate posts in the thread a prize that they're willing to give. And then when the playoffs are over, the person with the highest number of points in the playoff pool gets to choose their prize first. And then it goes on down the line until the person who had the least amount of points. So everybody wins in this prize pool. It's really awesome, and all the prizes are great. I landed about the middle of the pack, maybe high middle, I don't know. But the prize that I chose was from Brown Butter on Ravelry, and she had offered up this gorgeous Madeline Tosh, and I've never had any Madeline Tosh before. It's a much richer pink than this. It's a very bright hot pink color, and I tried to photograph it and it wouldn't photograph either. Maybe if I hold it back here a little bit, it's still not quite there, but it is the most magnificent bright hot pink. The colorway is called Pop Rocks, and this is the Madeline Tosh Tosh sock. It's 100% superwash merino, 395 yards. This has got to be a shawl, I think. I love pink. I really do. And the colors are off because that's just the way it's hard to get the colors right when you're dealing with natural light and several things. But anyway, that was the exciting yarn. Now I also got some big box store yarn to finish off my knit sampler afghan. And when I went in to buy, I bought half of the yarn to start in case I decided I was just going to do the regular size blanket instead of doubling it, you know, in case I got really tired of it and just couldn't bear the thought of continuing. But I am continuing, and I went in to get the rest of the yarn, and they were out of the grape colorway. I've been keeping an eye out for several weeks, and they still don't have enough of the grape. So I decided I would substitute for the other half of the blanket this green in for the grape, and it is Red Heart Soft. It is the dark leaf colorway. It's a beautiful jewel tone green, and it's showing pretty true there on the screen. So I'm hoping that will go well with the rest of the colors in the blanket, and we'll see. If it looks terrible, then I'll figure something else out, but I think it's going to look just fine. So that is it for the equipment room. Got a little bit of rec league going on today, so let's get into that. It is time for the Warm Hands Hoedown, y'all. I've had a couple of entries already. You saw them in the little intro there just a second ago. And both of those are by Pretty is her name. It's PK Jewelry on Ravelry. That's right. I had to look at my notes. Okay, so we have those two entries so far, and then my work in progress. The craft along ends on September 30th, 2013. You can knit fingerless mitts, mittens, gloves, anything for the hands that has at least a thumb hole. So nothing that's just on the wrist. It's got to come up and do your hands that have a thumb hole too. On the thread and Ravelry, you can post your finished objects. Each finished object is one entry to receive for a chance to win the prize at the end of the craft along. And like I said, it goes until September 30th, 2013, and the prize is a $25 Etsy gift certificate. So you must be a member to win of the group. And other than that, you can chatter in that same thread and everything. I just do the random number generator till it lands on a finished object when I do the drawing at the end. So super exciting. I hope y'all will get working on those mittens and gloves and fingerless mitts and post them in the group. You are welcome to double dip as far as I'm concerned if other podcasters are having mitten knit-alongs. And I know that Vicki of Heartland Knits is doing just that. So as far as I go, you're fine to double dip as far as I'm concerned. All right, that's going to be it for the first period. Let's get into some training room action. Are you ready to come into the training room with me? Because it's time for the second period and a little training room action. I am going to keep this pretty quick because I am trying to keep the show shorter to where it will be if I decide to go with that hip cast option. So just a real quick rundown of my fitness stuff for the past couple of weeks. The first week since I recorded, I had a really good running week, progressing just fine through the Couch to 5K program. I'm keeping my pace under 15 minutes per mile, which is my goal on my hilly course that I run. I'm expecting that pace will be a little bit faster when I'm on a flatter course. I still haven't gotten out to a flatter course to test out that that hypothesis, but we'll see. I hope to do that in the next couple of weeks. Then next week, since I've seen you the second week, it rained and it stormed and it poured and it was really hard to get out to run. If it wasn't actively raining, it was threatening rain. And it wasn't just rain, we were getting the kind of pop-up storms that have high winds and hail and lightning and thunder. So if I saw dark clouds in the distance, I was really cautious about going out because I've never been caught outside in a hailstorm, and really, don't really ever want to be. So really. The funny thing that happened this week, fitness-wise, is, I've done all this workout and I've really been hitting that exercise bike hard. In the past, I've kind of tra-la-la, take it a little easy on the bike, but this time, at least every other day, I've really tried to push my pace on the bike and really break a sweat and work hard. So I've been doing that, and I've been doing the running and really feeling like I'm pushing myself, and I'm having a little bit of soreness and stuff, that good feeling, that good kind of I worked out feeling. So I've been doing all that stuff and doing great, and then the other day I posted a picture on Instagram of the blanket that I finished, or the squares that I finished. The blanket is only half finished. But anyway, I was laying out all these squares on the floor to get that picture, and somehow, just from doing that, when I got up, my whole leg was hurting to where I didn't feel like I should um, work out at all. So that was just funny to me that I've been doing all these hard workouts and then I hurt myself knitting, basically. It just goes to show you. Another exciting fitness thing is that my husband and I are looking into joining a hip hop class at a local dance studio. I'm super excited but extremely nervous about that. Um, I have I'm a little bit clumsy. I have an issue where my brain, here's the way it's explained to me. I am left eye dominant but right hand dominant, and somehow that wiring mixes your brain up and it makes it hard for me to follow along. I did martial arts for years and that really helped me, but I've always been a slower learner when it comes to following motions and things like that. Even when I was in massage school and learning how to do the different massage strokes, it was an issue for me. But so it makes me nervous whenever I start something new. I can do it. It just takes me, and I have to be patient with myself. And as long as I don't panic and feel like, oh, everybody's gonna think I'm, stupid. As long as I don't panic, I do okay. But if I start to get nervous and panic, even, it's not a good thing. So hopefully, if we are able to do that, it'll be just fine, and I'll have a blast. And yeah. It'll be a mixed class with kids from 7th grade all the way up to, hopefully we won't be the oldest ones in the class, but I kind of have a feeling we will be. That's okay though. When did we ever care what anybody else thought, right? Anyway, okay, well, let's get into the third period now. And if you are not going to watch the hockey talk, then I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. If you want to stay tuned for a little bit of hockey talk, then that'll start in just a second. Time to drop the puck for the third period and a little bit of hockey talk. I'm going to start with a little bit of Hockey 101 today, just a quick little segment to explain the new NHL divisions and how that will affect playoffs in the future. As of this coming season, the divisions will change. There will still be two conferences, the Eastern and the Western Conference. Within the Western Conference, there will be the Pacific and Central divisions, and in the Eastern Conference, there will be the Metropolitan and Atlantic divisions. If I can find a good graphic that lists all the teams for each division, I'll put it in right here. Otherwise, that's easily found on the internet. And to me, geographically speaking, the new divisions make a little bit more sense than the old ones. I'm not so thrilled with the names that they've given these divisions. The Carolina Hurricanes are in the Metropolitan Division, and that just sounds funny to me. The other ones are fine, they're just regional, but Metropolitan just sounds, I don't know, hoity-toity or something. And hockey is definitely not a hoity-toity kind of a sport. But anyway, how the playoffs will work from here on out is that the top three teams from each division will automatically earn a playoff spot, and then each conference, so the Western and the Eastern conferences, will have 2 wild card playoff spots available that they'll be given to the 2 teams with the highest point totals among the teams that didn't make those first 3 spots for each division. So that'll be really interesting to see. And another interesting thing is there is 1 fewer team in each division in the West than there is in the East. So if you want to talk percentages and statistically speaking, teams in the Eastern divisions actually have less of a percentage of a chance of making the playoffs. So that's really kind of interesting to me. I'm assuming we're going to see some expansion maybe coming in the West, and to even things out in the next couple of years. That's just purely a guess on my part, though. I don't have any inside scoop or track or anything like that, so that's just a guess. As far as what's going on with my Checkers and my Hurricanes, we're in full swing in free agency. Several signings have been done. Most notably to me anyway, the Hurricanes have re-signed Zach Dalpe, and what makes me kind of relieved is that I didn't realize his contract was up this summer. And with everything else that's been going on, I'm kind of glad I didn't realize that, because I might have just lost my mind, because y'all know what a fan I am of Zach Dalpe. But they did re-sign him for another year. This should be his breakout year, I hope. I know I said the same thing last year, but it's kind of a do or die this year for him. He has gotten beyond the point where they can just send him down to the minor leagues and call him back up at will. They will have to put him on waivers to send him back down, which means to send him back down to the minor league. That means that any other team can pick him up and take him away from us if they do that. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. So that was the most exciting signing that I have seen so far, and I'm really, really thrilled that the Hurricanes have signed Michael Murphy to another, I believe, 1-year contract. He is a goalie that has played with the Checkers in the past, and took a year off to play in the KHL, which is the Russian equivalent of the NHL. Didn't go so well for him over in Russia. He came back, played a few games with the Checkers at the end of last season, and they have signed him for another year to be one of the starting goalies for the Checkers. So super excited. Mike Murphy, I've met him several times. He's a super nice guy. He's always doing things in the community, and he is a very, very good goalie. So woohoo! And Mikhail Yordan was also signed to another 1-year contract, so that is exciting as well. I'm a big fan of Yordan. So that's it for the hockey talk today, and that's it for the podcast. So until next time, may all of your fiber arts projects and your favorite hockey teams stay out of the penalty box. Bye-bye.